Good morning. It is day 3 of my freeze-dried food challenge. Spit it out, John. So today, it's for brunch. I am going to have some tomato soup that I packaged September 25th, 2021. So that's over 21, 22, 23, 24, 3.5 years ago. And we're also, and since I'm having tomato soup, I'm going to skip the V8 juice, and we're going to have one of my individual cups of chocolate milk that I packaged on June 2nd, 2021. So these are packaged pretty close together time-wise. Now, I always review my videos before I come here to record, and when I recorded the original video for this, I found that doing the discs without crushing them, they didn't dissolve too well. So I said in that video I was going to go back and reopen them and crush them and then repackage them, and I never did. It's one of those things, if you don't do it right away, you just never get around to it. So never mind on that. We'll just take care of that now. My O2 absorber. My ham and cheese croutons. That smells good. So let's take care of crushing this right now. Get my handy dandy rolling pin up. So if I was packaging this again, number one, I wouldn't use the jars just because I've changed over to the meal pouches. I would do the same thing here. I would crush it before I pack it, though. It just rehydrates so much better that way. All right, put that off this side. Get my jar. We're going to go ahead and reconstitute it in the jar. I want to get all that goodness in there. All right. Put that off the side. Now I got a cup of hot water from my Keurig. We'll put that in there. Give that a stir. That beautiful smell of tomato soup. That's good. All right. We'll let that sit for just a minute while I do my, let me get my scissors. While I do my chocolate milk. cut that at the top because at a later date, I'll probably leave this open for the week. Sometimes I get thirsty in the afternoon, don't want coffee and don't want just plain water. So I can have some of this during the day. I packaged these. This one's got 7 individual packets of chocolate milk that I freeze dried. This was, I'm pretty sure 2%. I normally only buy 2% milk. So let's get a cup of cold water. Take off my straw that I taped on there. New pouches I get have better straws. These are coffee stirrers is what I used for this. That's okay. Open that up. Looks like I got pretty close to the zip tie on, or to the zip lock on that, so hopefully I can get this open and resealed. Alright, I'm going to remember to take my O2 absorber out. Alright, so let's put my cup of cold water in there. Ziplock this shut. If I remember right, I bought a batch of these off of Amazon. I don't remember which ones they were, but when you zipped them, they still leaked around the corner, so you gotta be careful. Make sure I don't spill that in case those new ones that you see in my more modern videos that I use, and they're in my Amazon store, they don't leak. I'll roll that down. Alright, here we go. There's my chocolate milk. Let's pour out my tomato soup. Give that one more stir. Oh yeah, that smells so delicious. Pour it in my soup bowl. And take some of my ham and cheese croutons. Mix those in there with that. Alright, let's dig in. Let those croutons soak up just a bit first. I love tomato soup. Brings me back to my childhood. Alright, let's have some croutons there. Move that closer. The cheese on that stays pretty crunchy. Everything else does what toast does in soup, which is get very soft. But the cheese does add a little texture to it. That is good. All right, 3.5-year-old chocolate milk. Let's see. Oh yeah, that tastes like chocolate milk. Very nice. Who doesn't like chocolate milk? I remember when I was a kid at the cafeteria, they had chocolate milk and white milk. And who didn't go for the chocolate milk? I always went for the chocolate milk. Mm. That tomato soup is just delicious. All right, John, we're not going to talk all day. I mean, all you got is soup there. But it's certainly hitting the spot. A beautiful brunch with some protein in it from the ham, my chocolate milk, and tomato soup with ham and cheese croutons. Beautiful brunch. All right, I will see you for dinner. Good evening, day 3 for dinner. You guys are going to join me for dinner. So what we're going to have is we're going to have a Pouch O noodle, which kind of like my signature thing. I love these Pouch O noodles. Beijing Beef, packaged on February 2nd, 2022. So it's coming up on 3 years. And we are also going to have some of my egg rolls. If you haven't tried my egg rolls, you've got to try those. Egg rolls are delicious, dry, and also rehydrated. I'm going to show you rehydration if you haven't seen my previous videos. There are videos for both of these. My kettle's boiling. Wait till that to boil and I'll be right back. A watched kettle never boils. That's what they say. But I can tell that's about ready to click. Now let's get this open. Let's do my Pouch O noodles. That's what my Beijing beef looks like. Dry. Take out my O2 absorber. Now, in the original video, I put 1 cup of water in there and it was kind of soupy. I'm going to try with my standard 3/4 of a cup. Although I didn't use the dividers on this, so that might not be as accurate as when I use my dividers, dividing out the meals. That's something I did later on. All right, so there's 3/4 of a cup of hot water in there. We're going to pour that over my beef and noodle. Oh gosh, the aroma on that almost hit me immediately. That smells good. All right. Now let me look at the clock here. 45. So we're going to let that sit. I think I'm going to let that sit for 3 minutes because it does have beef in there. So this is going to be a 5-minute rehydrate instead of a 4-minute. So we'll wait for 3 minutes on that and then we'll give it a stir and I'll be right back. Okay, that's been about 3 minutes. Let's open that up. Give that a stir. And it's still a bit soupy. Even with 3/4 of a cup. I just remember when I made this, I cut my beef pretty thick. And in future, I'd probably use my meat slicer on that and cut them a little bit thinner. Tastes good though. Let's seal that up. And I'm going to wait another 3 minutes. So that's going to make it 6 minutes because that beef Everything looked good in there except for the beef looked a bit hard still. So I'll see you in 3 minutes. Okay, that's coming up on 3 minutes. By the time I get these egg rolls done, it will be 3 minutes. So let's open up the egg rolls. I got 2 egg rolls in there. They've kind of stuck together, so we're going to have to rehydrate them together. Take out my O2 absorber. I'm going to put these back in the pouch. Probably the sugar from those made them stick together. Let's pour some water in there from my boiling kettle here. That's a cup. But we want to be able to submerge these. So we're going to hold them under the water until they quit bubbling. Alright. Take those out. I don't want my water to spill. Put those on a paper towel. I was afraid of spilling my boiling water. That would be a disaster. And we're just going to pat those dry. Get rid of some of the excess off the outside of it. Put that there. Put that there. Alright, let's see what we got going with our noodles. Oh yeah, they're looking good. I'll dump that in there. A little bit drier than last time. Alright, let's have a taste. That's good. Let's try a bit of beef. That looks a little bit hard to me. How am I going to describe that? It's kind of got a crunchy taste to the outside, but the center seems to be pretty good. Flavor's delicious on that. Let's eat an egg roll while that soaks a little bit more. So that's a freeze-dried egg roll. Oh yeah. Came back beautifully. Outside is nice and crispy. Inside did moisten up very nicely. Thought I'd be a genius and try and soak up some of that juice in here. But very, very nice. Those egg rolls, I've done mini ones too of these. I've done a video on the minis. They're just so good. They're actually very, very good, and not the freeze-dried and not reconstituted. And when you bite into them, it's not like, doesn't like suck the moisture out of your mouth or anything. It's just a savory taste. So if you are a bit worried about rehydrating them, you can always eat them dry and they're delicious. We're making this Beijing Beef video. It was early in my noodles experimenting, and I cooked the ramen noodles before freeze drying. Later on in my Pouch O Noodles, I discovered that all you gotta do is take those ramen noodles out of the package, put them on a tray, and include them in your freeze dryer. I do that because there's invariably some moisture in them. Don't cook them, and then package them that way, and they come back really well. I mean, these came back well, if not just a little bit soft, and I think that's from cooking them. But the ramen noodles, if you freeze dry them raw, basically, although they're already cooked, but if you freeze dry them straight out of the package, they come back very nice. Within your 4 minutes. I'll see if I can dig out another different variation. We might eat one of those up for later in the week. So, you have seen 3 days now of only freeze-dried food, and I'm doing well. I thought it might be a bit of a challenge, but I'm not halfway yet, but I'm looking forward to the rest of the challenge. So I'm going to finish this offline, off camera, and I'll see you for breakfast tomorrow. Thank you.